What's happening, everybody? The world is a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. And I want to say one thing first and foremost. Today is September 11th, 2024. 23 years ago, this country was under attack in New York City, Skanksville, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. And before anything, we will never forget that day. Never forget our heroes who saved us. The men and women ran into those towers, ran into the Pentagon, brought that plane down in Skanksville, and even what lingers to this day, what happened on that day, and everything that's happened. And there was a debate earlier this week. Never forget there are good people in this country who are heroes, and especially on this anniversary today, 23 years ago. So I just want to say that to begin. And Ryan and Allison have joined me. Hello, you two.
How's it
Hello.
going, man?
Good. I mean, this day's tough. Very tough day. Um, so um this tough day for a lot of people. So, you know, just glad we're here. Just glad we're here. Just glad we're here. So, yep, I'm so happy to have my friends here today. And it was quite a week indeed, and a crazy weekend as we head into the next few days. And let's talk about what's trending all over the world. And another thing I just want to also say, fortunately, we lost James Earl Jones
Mm.
earlier this week as well. And 93 years old, a man full of life, who was amazing and a legendary person on the screen, in the theater, and obviously his voice work. His voice lives on forever. His impact lives forever. And he is a special person to so many generations. Obviously, Darth Vader. Obviously, Mufasa. All his August Wilson plays. He starred in those roles he originated. The best guest stars, if you ever saw him on many shows. What a man full of life. We will miss you. But as they said in The Lion King, he lives in you, and you live on through those memories. And those words last forever. So on this day where we remember our heroes on 9/11, and also the great James Earl Jones, we never forget those who were the guiding light in our life and the heroes forever and ever. So with that, let's start the show finally. And we had the first week of the NFL to begin this past week. Great thing to bring us Americans together, even with uh our differences than there. But one cool thing the NFL did do was end the speculation already. We have Super Bowl 59 taking place in New Orleans, Louisiana, Super Bowl 59. And what did they decide to do? They announced the halftime show. And who's it going to be? It is going to be the Grammy Award winning, the Pulitzer Prize winning, the living legend, Kendrick Lamar, will be your halftime show for Super Bowl 59, February 9th, 2025. And after a year where he truly established his reign as king of hip hop, and Drake was the one trying to bring him down, and J. Cole and all of that, he not only wins, but he is rewarded with literally the biggest concert of the year. Thoughts on Kendrick Lamar being announced as your halftime performer at the Super Bowl?
I think it makes perfect sense. Kendrick is obviously very popular right now, as you just pointed out. Had this year-long, I guess we'll call it a feud with Drake. But songs, a lot of the songs got very popular. Not Like Us, of course, became one of the anthems for the summer. So
And they're going to play that during the show.
probably. So I do think that it's been like recently they've been doing it differently where they've gone back to what they used to do, where the people who are performing are not necessarily like the most relevant people that they could get. And I think we've seen like the energy around the halftime show kind of falter in recent years. Not that the performance has been bad, but the excitement for it, with a few exceptions. And this year, again, it's a hot artist who's currently coming off a really big summer, and I think that is wise. I don't know if you agree, disagree, Allison or Matt. Obviously, I think Matt agrees because he loves Kendrick, but you know.
It's my favorite artist. My favorite music artist is Kendrick Lamar. So obviously, this is as good as it
Mhm.
gets.
I did not know that.
Yep, and female artist is SZA.
Oh.
But what do you think? Are you liking this pick, Allison?
I think it's a good pick. I will say, being a Taylor Swift girly, I've seen a lot of like theories that she's gonna come out and sing Bad Blood with him. And I know it's not going to happen, but it would be such a bop if it did happen. Like, you have to admit that would be so cool.
I mean, yeah, obviously a Taylor Swift appearance will always be notable, but if she's gonna do it, she would just do it. You know what I mean? Like if she's gonna perform,
I don't think she would ever
yeah,
perform in the Super Bowl.
that's what I mean. Like if she was gonna perform,
she gets the Super Bowl halftime attention every week.
yeah, exactly. But I was like, if she's gonna do the Super Bowl, she would just do the Super Bowl herself. You know what I mean? She wouldn't do it as a guest. I will say there was a weird discourse online about this, in response to Lil Wayne not being selected because they're in New Orleans. And this is true. Me and the people of Bozeman, Montana, according to Spotify, are massive Lil Wayne fans.
I love
Okay. I
I
listen
like it too.
to Lil Wayne is, for like 4 years running now, my number one listened to artist on Spotify.
Wait.
This is none of this is sarcastic. All of this is true. Um, and so all that is to say, I like Lil Wayne, and I would, of course, be incredibly happy if Lil Wayne was doing the halftime show. But this idea that because it's in New Orleans where he's from, he has to have it, or it's like disrespect.
I
Where's
don't
that
think
coming from? Like
Yo,
Come on,
here's
Taylor.
here's
people
the
like
thing.
Justin
I'm glad
Timberlake
you brought
wasn't
it
from
up.
Minnesota. Like, you know what I mean? They don't always pick a
Okay.
local artist.
No.
Yeah,
You know?
I've never even heard of that, actually, now that you say that.
well, yeah, the Super Bowl's never been about a
Right.
hometown. Sorry,
Yeah,
the
never.
Super Bowl has never been about a hometown artist representing. And I'm a big fan of Lil Wayne too, but let's be realistic. There's not a lot of songs that commercially he can do. What
I
he's
mean,
gonna
I think
say?
he could do
I
it,
mean,
but
sure, but what's he gonna say? You gotta lick me like a
I
lollipop.
was
He's gonna
just
say
thinking
that.
that.
I mean, yeah, he probably would. That
And
one
let's
doesn't
be
have
real,
any
Ryan.
explicit like
He
it
let's
doesn't have
Like,
be
explicit
let's
words,
be
but
every
it
real,
time
doesn't
says
have
Ryan.
any
lollipop.
doesn't
Ooh,
have any swears or anything, so you could
And
probably
I
sneak
get
that
it. You could
past
say
true.
the
you could, and let's be real, Ryan. He was pretty bad at WrestleMania.
sure. But
It's on you. No, I didn't like when he said it's on you.
yeah, fair enough. I would say like the reason why I don't think they should do this is because, like I was saying a minute ago, Lil Wayne would be kind of a continuation of mostly what we'd seen, like people who are really not all that popular right now, people who are out of the
Right,
mainstream eye.
yeah.
Like Lil Wayne is again iconic from his time, and that time happens to be when we were kids, so that's why we like him. But like he's definitely a nostalgia kind of act at this point, whereas
Indeed.
Kendrick Lamar is current. And so I do think if Kendrick is willing, it makes way more sense. I think this all stems from, though, that Dr. Dre in LA, because that
But
was
he
so
was part of he was that this is his second Super Bowl for solo.
right. Yeah.
But yeah.
And I know
Yeah,
Kendrick was in
yeah.
that one, but I'm saying like that one was very California based, right? Like it was very California themed. The show was California themed. Obviously, Dre is from California. And so I think that's when it got into people's minds that like the singer should somehow represent the state that they're in.
I think that's
But
like a
like
cool
yeah,
concept,
that's like yeah,
but
I mean it's cool that they did it that one
It's
time.
barely been done too.
Right,
yeah,
And
exactly. It
like
was
I'm
that's a one off. Like it was cool that they did it, and it was, again, it was a great show. One of my favorites, probably my
very
favorite of
good,
like the last
very
10 years.
good.
But like
my
you know,
favorite of all time is Prince. That's the best one of all time, hands down.
that
That
wasn't
wa-
10 years. That was more than 10 years ago.
no,
But
no,
we were
yeah,
kids. Yeah.
that was super. The Prince Super
I remember
Bowl
that one.
was Super Bowl in Jacksonville, and that was Patriots Eagles the first time.
Yeah, no, I remember that
And
one.
yeah, that's it. And I mean, there's so much history about this, and it's never been a home time show.
Yeah,
All the
exactly.
Florida. I mean, let's be. If anyone's noted, I love the Super Bowl. One of my favorite days of the year. I can name every single Super Bowl matchup 0-59. And if you look at its history, usually they shuffle between Miami, New Orleans. Now Vegas is part of the mix, but it's usually between Miami. They usually always would switch it between Miami, New Orleans, um, Tampa. Most of the time, they would just shuffle through.
Right, they got to pick a
They've
warm
added
state.
LA now.
Right.
LA and Vegas will be on the reg. They don't usually branch out. Every once in a while, they've done Jacksonville, New York City when they did it.
Yeah.
But you would
Stuff
never
like
have
that.
a Super Bowl somewhere like Green Bay, Wisconsin. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like,
No, they're not
you
trying
wouldn't
that. I don't think
that
they're doing
late.
a
You just
cold.
like you wouldn't.
I don't think they're doing a cold weather one. Last cold weather one was at MetLife, the Super Bowl, Broncos, Seahawks, and that was a disaster logistically. So
Yeah.
not
That's
gonna
what
do
it is. It's the weather. They want it to be nicer. And in February, that means you got to go to the south or to the west coast
Mhm.
for the game. Like, just factually speaking,
Yeah,
that's what you have
exactly.
to do.
South or southern or the west, as you said.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl 60 will be in Santa Clara for the 49ers play. Super Bowl 60, where they'll hold it in the home state of the Super Bowl, the first one. The LA Coliseum was Super Bowl one, Packers, Chiefs. And maybe they'll give Taylor her when they have a big anniversary show. I don't know.
She's not doing it, guys. But
She's
anyway,
never gonna do it.
never
Like I
gonna do
said,
it.
we all know she gets that attention, but Kendrick Lamar has that. People upset about Lil Wayne. I'm sorry. What are you gonna do?
And Lil Wayne can still be there. You never know. Wayne
Yeah,
can still
maybe he
show.
brings him out. Maybe he
He's a
brings him
huge
out.
Packer fan. Lil Wayne
Is he really?
Yes, he
He's
is.
a legitimate Packers fan.
I'm
Not
pretty
that I don't
positive
believe
if
you,
you look
but
him up. He's like a huge cheesehead. Yeah. Look it
maybe.
I
up.
mean,
Just
maybe.
double
Why won't
check.
he just be a
But
Saints fan? But anyways,
I would assume he's a
that's
Saints
regardless.
fan, but yeah.
no, he's a Packer fan. I'm positive. Look it up just to make
Well,
sure.
he jumps around. He
But
doesn't really perform anyways in concerts. You see him on FS1 and
Oh
running
yeah,
out of
he's a huge
Colorado.
Packer
yeah.
fan.
He's got the green and yellow, like that black and
Yep.
yellow song, but green and yellow, which is the
Yep.
Packers team.
Mhm.
He's a
Maybe,
Packers fan.
No, he really
maybe.
is.
Maybe. Anyways, good stuff, Lil Wayne. But also just people upset. I think Rock Nation actually produces the Super Bowl halftime show, and people mad at Jay-Z and blah blah blah. Who cares? This is gonna be an awesome show. Can't wait to
I
see
think
what they actually
Kendrick will be
do.
great.
It'll be a good show.
I thought it was going to be Miley Cyrus. I heard strong rumors there, which
So
would
did
make
I.
sense, but not in the cards.
She's been having a good year too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she can do it next time.
Yeah,
It'll be
she
fine.
do it.
Exactly. We'll see who does it for the 60th one. But moving on to other things, quickly, let's keep the football theme. And as I promised I would do, we had the Jets and the 49ers play on Monday as an extension from the football chat, as they are on the road to the Super Bowl. And the big thing was the return of Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. And what happens? Well, we had quite a dud of a game ultimately. So quickly, let me just get the score right. We had the 49ers defeat the Jets by a score of 32-19. And the 49ers did spoil Aaron Rodgers' return. And this score should be worse. It really should be 13, but the very last minute Tyrod Taylor touchdown secures it. But Aaron Rodgers is able to play the whole game. I think that's a miracle there. And at went 13 for 21, 167 yards, did throw a touchdown on that free play, and then threw an interception that really wasn't his fault. But besides that, there's nothing to celebrate about the Jets. The big bad Jets defense, everybody was excited to see. They look absolutely awful, giving up 147 yards on the ground when Christian McCaffrey is hurt, thanks to the undrafted rookie in Jordan Mason having a heck of a game. Reckon 49ers are a heavy favorite in the NFC as well, but for a Jets defense that a lot of people were clamoring. They could not hang with the 49ers without Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy playing really only okay. Most of it was his receivers works at 19 for 29 and 231 yards. But I just really honestly feel if the Jet fans should be happy Rodgers played a full game and it looked pretty solid there. And now the schedule gets a little easy with playing the Tennessee Titans to start off in their week 2 matchup after they just blew a 17-point lead against the Bears. But just really quick for the Jets fan, Ryan, and you can chime in too, Allison. Jets at 49ers. What about the game last night?
I mean, yeah, you said pretty much everything you need to say. It was a dud of a game to watch, especially if you're not a fan of either team. McCaffrey, who has single-handedly ruined my fantasy football this year already after 1 week, is wasn't playing, which should have frankly made it easier for the Jets defense. And they got run all over by a backup running back. So that's a problem that needs to be addressed like pronto. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers didn't look bad. He looked fine. And so hopefully easier matchups, give the team a little more time playing together, build that chemistry back up. Because as we've seen, Aaron Rodgers may be playing now, but he wasn't present for the entirety of the practices. So
Everything good?
Try and get some more reps in, both obviously practice reps, but also in games with easier teams like Tennessee, which, as Matt pointed out, had their own problems. I think that is probably all that needs to happen for that team to lock in on a better record, certainly than last year. But I was hoping to see something more explosive. If we're going to make an early playoff prediction, as I wanted to quite badly to make an early playoff prediction, I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more explosive. I guess the only positive is nobody in that nobody in their in their division or whatever was like overly impressive. I guess Patriots over delivered, but that was again probably not going to hold.
Yeah, my only contrary to that to add to it is the fact that a lot of people criticize often how the preseason isn't a thing anymore, and how a lot of players didn't play, and they are now saying that the first 2 weeks are actually preseason in a literal standpoint and getting out of the
because
rust.
the starting team is now finally playing together.
Yeah, and going up against a team that is relatively the same. In fact, added a lot besides adding more to their defense in the offseason. The fact that they did go to the Super Bowl in overtime, they got as close as humanly possible for a team to win the Super Bowl. That team only improved, and you come in to face that team. That's quite a daunting task.
Oh, sure.
So,
They were always they were always going to be underdog pick to win, I think, personally.
yeah, it
But
was a 4-point spread, and I just thought it'd be a little more competitive, but we'll see
right,
against
or
a much
something
worse.
right, something more explosive out of the offense. Frankly, that's what I figured we'd see. An offense that was, in a different gear. And they don't think they were in a different gear. I mean, they were more competent with someone who can throw the football as opposed to Zach Wilson,
Yeah,
but
the
that's it.
offense looked at least competent. You should
Yeah, they
be
look
very
fine. I
happy.
was hoping for more than fine, but they were
Hence,
fine.
hence my points. What I said for years on this show and offline about Zach Wilson now really historically being the worst NFL starting quarterback I've ever seen. And it was night and day seeing those two offenses. And even Troy Aikman pointed that out. He
Yeah.
didn't say his name, but if you heard his line there, but yeah, you should be excited for the Jets. They go up against the Tennessee Titans, a team that's rebuilding themselves, who also had a devastating loss last week with only a second-year quarterback and a new head coach. You have to definitely win this game on the road. But we'll save that talk for later. Allison, anything to add?
Oh, I tried watching the game, but my provider was saying it didn't come with me. I was so mad. I was just trying
You don't
to
get Monday Night
log in on
Football?
my laptop and sit in bed and watch it and fall asleep, and I couldn't even do that. So I just kind of gave up and just was watching through the app a little bit. So
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers didn't look horrible. So that's
Nope, look good.
you guys.
that's a win. That's a win. All right. And just quickly to hit on the last football point before we move on. And if you want to hear more of my review of week 1 of the NFL, check it out. Check out the productive NFL week 1 recap on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And then you can also see my picks for week 2 on Thursday. And then check me out again on Monday for the week 2 NFL recap, week 3 college football recap as well. But adding to it, and we've made a clip on this, and I've talked much on the Giants' embarrassing loss to the Minnesota Vikings 20-6. Daniel Jones having one of the worst games of his career. And one thing I didn't have time to mention, but I specifically wanted to speak with you two about, is we have Daniel Jones looking awful. Horrendous interceptions, not accurate, and just having people about to lose their mind in MetLife Stadium because this is his 6th year in the league, and it seems like nothing is working. And if I was there, I would definitely have booed him. I am a passionate fan. I feel I'm as reasonable as it gets. Like, I will boo in the seat, but I will not go out of my way to ruin an athlete's life or tell him how awful he is, because that's unnecessary, inhumane, and just pathetic. But not everybody is like me. And apparently there are a lot of Giants fans who really wanted to make Daniel Jones feel bad. And after Daniel Jones is ready to go home, not only one thing, Daniel Jones is the most clowned athlete right now. Not only New York, but everyone. Everybody makes fun of him. I give this guy credit for the amount of roast this guy gets, the amount of memes he has to deal with, just the outright hate and straight up sometimes bullying people do on Daniel Jones. And there are people who remind me every single week, who have reminded me every single week for the last 6 years about how awful he is. And though he's shown glimpses that he can compete in the league, the last few years he's had a hard time to stay on the field. And when he does play, well, unfortunately, he gives people reasons to be mad at him. But do they have to be this mad? So as Daniel Jones is about to leave, knowing he played bad and knowing that he's just going to be roasted for the next week, there were fans literally waiting outside of the players' entrance for him to do this. They literally waited for him to leave the stadium to straight up harass him. And look at this.
Hey, I need $1 million. I need $1 million. I need $1 million, Daniel. I need $1 million, Danny. I need $1 million. Give me a... You stop.
I give the guy a lot of credit, man. And especially New York is a tough place to play. If you win, you will be treated like a god. If you lose, that's what happens. Like, come on, people. We're better than that. I know the Giants franchise at one point was a big fucking deal. One of the original franchises in the NFL. A franchise of winners. Literally from inception of me until about the end of high school, the Giants were a respected franchise. And the last decade has just been, oh, shit. The demise of Eli Manning, the Coughlin being too late, to Odell Beckham Jr. being good, but just being a headache, to the Gettleman area, to Daniel Jones, and though a little glimpse in the playoffs 2 years ago, now we have this. We have Giants fans waiting out of the parking lot to tell him how much of a piece of shit he is. And so, come on.
I'll be honest, actually. I watched that video. I've not seen it before. I didn't think that was that crazy, to be honest with you. They were booing. Obviously, that's unfortunate. But he was bad. I mean, just factually speaking, he did poorly. And they were booing him for doing poorly, right? That wasn't like They didn't just walk up to him randomly and boo him for no reason. They went to a game. They were waiting to see the players. I presume they weren't all there just waiting for him. I presume they were trying to get just pictures of all their favorite players, and then they happened to boo the one guy that they were mad at. But you also said like we're better than this, and I don't know what about the NFL in the last 5 years, Matt, has indicated to you that NFL fans are not exactly those people who would go outside and wait for the player they're mad at and boo them. They are actually throwing each other around the stadiums. They are like hitting each other. Obviously, they'd be willing to boo someone for a bad performance. Like, this is tame compared to some of the things happening in the NFL stands, in my opinion. But yeah, I wasn't all that offended by this, and I don't think he would be either. I mean, he'd probably be bummed that they're booing him. Nobody wants to be booed. But I think he knows he didn't have a great game, right? And I think he knows that it's a pattern at this point, that this is not the first time he's had a bad game, nor is it like his second or third game and maybe just, growing pains with a new team. So I think he probably expects this reaction at this point, and I'm sure he's trying to fix it, right? Play better, have stronger outings so they don't boo him. But that's, that takes time. You can't do that right off rip.
I mean, the thing why I will disagree with that is the fact that, one, the problem with what happens there is, one, it makes the fan base look bad, prevents people to want to sign with this franchise if that's what they're going to do. And to a point, though, people have known New York has been a hostile place. We now have younger players from younger generations who will not put up with that stuff, including major free agents and stuff like that. And yes, is it the absolute worst thing in the world? No. And there's definitely worse fan bases, but it's just the precedence of giving the guy any hope or anything to push himself out of this. We had his teammate, our new offensive guard, and it's Zachy. It's such a hard name to pronounce, but who came from the Raiders, our new guard, who went to defend him and made the good points, this stuff, dealing with mental health issues, you're adding to it like that. And I get it. It is the athlete's job to ignore it. And at the end of the day, he's a filthy rich guy signing that contract, which people pointed out in the heckling. But I think it looks bad because of just how bad this franchise has fallen from grace. Like, with all due respect, Ryan, the Giants are on the Jets level in the last decade because of so many bad seasons, running through so many different general managers and coaches. It's the dysfunction. It's why it looks bad. Like, if you did this to I don't like Kirk Cousins, who did bad in Atlanta, well, at least they just started a brand new regime. No, this is 10 years going on. That's why it looks really bad, because you're only making things worse by doing that. Even though, and as I said, if I was in the seat, I would boo him. But would I go up to his face and tell him how much he sucks? No.
I would say, like you pointed out, the Giants were something far better than the Jets until somewhat recently, right? That was what you just said. And so I think that's part of why this is happening. I mean, no one is going up to any of the Jets players last year and booing to their face, even if they deserved it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, no, this was not happening to Zach Wilson, who, as we said, was bad. And so, like, I think
no one's going to Zach Wilson's. Literally the exact same parking lot.
Right,
they could have done the same thing.
And so I think it just comes from the fact that Jets fans aren't expecting much. And so when they received nothing, but they were expecting nothing, it's not a problem. But when you're used to the 20, from, what was it, from like 20 whatever to, or I guess early 2000s, right, to 2013-ish, 2014, that peak era, then I can see why, if that's what your formative years as a fan were, you'd be mad right now.
The Giants went. I've seen the Giants win 2 Super Bowls, and New York City hasn't won a Super Bowl since. So has it won a major sports championship in the 4 major sports since that 2011 Super Bowl win?
Yeah,
that was 2024, 13 years. So people are fed up, and we've seen players not want to come to any of these teams before in all the sports, who are reluctant at least. I mean, some they just took the bag anyway.
Get paid so much, by the way.
Well, yeah, so I don't know. I didn't think it was a good look, but a win against Washington next week would definitely erase some of the issues. But we'll ultimately see. Anything to add to this, Allison, as a newer member in the New York tri-state area?
Fan base, whatever. Trying my best.
Wait,
It's a
Allison.
lot.
Wait, Allison. So Allison is a Yankee fan. Are you a
I've
Chiefs
always
fan?
been a
Are
Yankee
you a
fan.
Yankee fan, a Chiefs fan, an Alabama fan? Are you a
I
Golden
didn't say I
State
was
Warrior?
a
Are you a
Chiefs
Golden
fan.
State
I'm just a
Warriors
Taylor
fan?
Swift fan.
Are you a
Okay.
Golden State Warriors fan too?
No. No. I was
And a
raised above.
Cowboys fan?
Oh God, no.
I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
No.
You were Bucks, right?
hmm
Yeah,
Milwaukee Bucks.
So technically, the Yankees. I'm gonna blame my mom for that. So if she's listening, she needs to take the call for that. Because she actually like would come to New York and everyone made her a Yankees fan. So she's like, yeah, screw the Brewers. We're gonna just be Yankee fans. Um, Football, Packers, technically by default, but trying to find a new team since I'm in New York and we have options, I guess. Not very good ones, but we'll get there.
Buffalo wasn't all that impressive this week either, I don't think. But
No.
Buffalo
New
won
York's
38 to
making it hard.
34-28. Josh
Yeah, I mean,
Allen
they
did
won,
good,
but-
but they shouldn't have given up that many points to his very opponent. But yeah, that's enough sports for today. Now let's go to music. All right, music. Linkin Park. That was definitely a major band when we were growing up. Very major band. And things are changing with Linkin Park. You know, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, lead singer Chester Bennington passed away. And trying to fill the gap and figure out what they're going to do next, they actually decided to move on as a band and get a new lead singer. That lead singer is named Emily Armstrong, and filling very big shoes. I give her a lot of credit. She is now the new lead singer of Linkin Park, and they just started touring again. So why don't we hear the difference between the original lead singer and Chester Bennington and Emily Armstrong? So first, this guy, it's at G Main, Gerard Germain. Awesome, absolutely awesome awesome TikToker. So he made a video comparing both of them. So we're going to use Gerard's stuff. So here it is. This is, everybody know this song Numb by Linkin Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the original version, and here's the new version with the new lead singer. So we can hear a distinct difference. Literally, this is as good as it gets to comparing the two. All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we heard what she said. It wasn't that long, but you guys heard the difference. I'll actually play. This is her, in the end.
Yeah.
Probably their signature song, is it fair to say?
Or
at least one of them. You want to say one of them?
Yeah, one of them, but I think that Transformer movie makes What I've Done their signature song because it's the most mainstream, probably.
Okay, fair enough. But regardless, though, everybody knows this song. It's one of the,
this is very
top
famous
five.
song.
Okay, so let's hear her version of this in the end, where they have a specific song. We're supposed to sing that part. Anyways, okay, you heard her though. Yeah, that's Emily Armstrong. And first things first, give us the opinion on her, because I know there's controversy around her, but talk to me about Emily first.
Well, as you said, there's some controversy around some of her like stances on like social issues. I think she's come out trying to clarify what those like her.
But before we get into that, what do you think about her as a singer, her doing the Linkin Park songs? And I definitely want to talk that. Let's go with that first.
Yeah. So I think she has a good voice. I know that not everybody in the fandom does think that. I think she sounds good. Hearing both of those clips, in my opinion, if you've heard, a lot of singers, you could clearly tell that she is a decent singer. I do think it's probably going to be hard. One, because it's a passionate fan base who was really devastated by the loss of their frontman. And two, they do have to like take some of the songs up. They do have to rearrange some of the songs for a slightly higher voice. I mean, she has a pretty deep voice for a female vocalist, but she's still a higher voice than the original because she's a female vocalist. So that's an interesting decision because it will make redoing the songs more difficult, and it will just inherently make all the songs sound a little different. Just like factually, it's impossible for these songs to sound even close to the same because the main voice is now a lady's voice, is not a man's voice. I don't think she's bad, but I do think that specific thing is going to be jarring for fans and could turn some fans off when the original stuff is being performed like that. If they make new music with this new this new front man, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, front person, I think it could actually be pretty good because at that point it's an original song. They'll have never heard it before. They won't have anything to compare it to. And I think that's probably going to sound great. Because I do think she's a good singer, but I think that's probably the one thing that they have to overcome is that the old stuff, which is the stuff everybody wants to hear, is going to just inherently sound different because of the voice. The vocals are different between the two. They don't sound the same.
Yeah, I think she sounds horrible. I think
Really?
I don't like her voice. I feel like I'm listening to chalkboards getting scratched on. She's
That
terrible.
bad? You thought so?
I mean, I'll
think
be honest, Matt, that's
she's
not at all correct.
I
no,
don't
she's
think
terrible.
she was
She's
that. She was
terrible.
giving
You could
me,
tell
Not at
me.
all
How could you
correct.
tell me that's good? That sounded
she was
horrible.
giving me what's
No,
her name
she's-
vibe.
Oh, you could have
clearly a
picked.
good
You could have
singer.
picked other people who auditioned. I would not have. She would not have gotten my vote. I think she sounds horrible. I think she's not
I
a good
don't think
singer.
nails on a chalkboard is.
Listen.
Okay.
Everyone can have their own opinion, Matt. That's
Yes.
absolutely fine. Now,
don't
I want to
think she
make
was
this
that
clear. I
bad.
say this on every show, but I think our online people need to know this. Having an opinion doesn't make it a good opinion, as Matt has just demonstrated.
Excuse me. Nah, man, she sounds terrible. Oh, blah, 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 blah,
Did
blah.
not sound
She'd
like
be
that.
so great.
Oh.
Did
She
sound
could
like
do a
that
scream.
at
She could do a.
all.
I'm sure she sounds wonderful in a screamo band. You know, she would be great in Lamb of God or something, but not Linkin Park. Horrendous.
I thought she fit well.
No, she. You and I don't think a line on this one. I thought she sounded horrible.
We don't
No.
think a lot of
And I
No, she
told you,
definitely
Ryan,
doesn't
I was
sound
going to have
horrible.
this opinion. I told you
I
earlier.
know you
with
did. That's why I
Dolo.
was ready for it. I don't believe she sounded
She
horrible. I think that's
stinks.
just factually listening
I think
to her
she
sing,
would
you
be
can tell
great.
she has a
She'd be
good
great
voice. But
in System of a Down. She could do that. Maybe.
I
Actually,
mean,
no.
I
No,
think
she
she
wouldn't.
could do. I think she'd be fine in. I think she's fine in Linkin Park. I think the problem is she doesn't sound like a dead guy, and she's never going to. And if you're a fan of the way the original sounded, then you're never going to like her version because it's never going to sound the same. She doesn't sound like
getting
him.
disappointed. I was not looking forward to playing that music because it sounds so bad. But we could all agree to disagree on this. We're not a
That's
fan.
all
Well, they have the opportunity to make new things.
But
Right, and I do
regarding the
think
controversy
the new
around
things
her,
will
though,
sound.
not to help the
Yeah.
situation for her, not only with the polarizing reaction, on top of it, people are not in favor of some of the things she said in her past. Ryan, you have any info on that?
Yeah, so she had previously expressed some a friendship with Danny Masterson from that 70s show. We all know what happened there. We all know about the case there.
Wait, what happened?
She's also got some like association with Scientology, which is not great. And I believe that she has had some comments in the past that are not great. She has come out specifically about the Masterson stuff, stating that she of who she knew of, like her friend. But she wishes she hadn't, because hearing everything that he had done, it's clear that he was, troubled. And so, she just doesn't still support him. But that's the only thing she's really kind of addressed from that group, was her association with Danny Masterson. So yeah, and what Jamie Bennington has questioned why she was invited to join the band with all this stuff happening, feeling that Linkin Park didn't do the band any services by failing to vet her properly.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's
not a good endorsement to have the son say she doesn't deserve it. I mean, similarly to me,
yeah,
but in
but
other
she's
ways.
not a singer. So
But you can't. Danny Masterson is serving time for horrific crimes, and I literally justice was served, and to support him in the past is just, it's too bad. It's really too bad. And I guess you think her clarifications are good. I saw her write very long message that I'll admit I didn't bother reading, but if she's
I
sorry, you
mean,
know what,
yeah.
give her a
So
second chance.
she said, I mean, yeah, she made it clear that she regrets speaking on his behalf, because she didn't know all the details, and when they came out during the case, she found them to be, horrifying. So, like, let's presume that's true. She honestly didn't know. She met him, thought he was a nice guy, came to his defense, heard the case, and was like, "Oh wow, okay, not a nice guy." That's plausible. That could certainly have been what happened. As for the Scientology stuff, I mean, she identifies as queer, which is not something that the original Church of Scientology was okay with. So again, I know that the church has changed as it's gotten a little bit more ingrained into like entertainment. So it's possible that that means nothing, but it's also possible that her sexual identity would preclude her from being an actual member of the church. I don't know. So I don't think that the controversies are going to be a big problem. I think for people who don't want her to be doing this, they'll use it, right? They'll say this person can't be the lead singer of Linkin Park because of X, Y, and Z, when in reality, they just don't want her to be the lead singer of Linkin Park. I think the people who like her as the lead singer of Linkin Park will ignore these controversies, because I don't think they're all that damning, the ones that we like know about and that she's addressed. But yeah, I do think that it'll basically be like a Rorschach test of whether or not you wanted Linkin Park to come back or not. But I would just say for fans, like, this is what needs to happen. And I guess it doesn't need to be her, but like, they had to replace him if they wanted to tour again. So,
Well, I have expressed I'm not a fan of her singing. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but hopefully they figure it out. They are on tour, and maybe she'll be a better singer. Maybe she'll improve her voice. Maybe she'll completely change her voice. But bands have changed. I do like the different perspectives of different songs, like when Nirvana reunited for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Obviously, Kurt Cobain's no longer here, but putting the female perspective in it, doing those songs, I think it was great. They all sounded great. Um, Obviously, AC/DC had a successful lead singer change after their lead singer died. Van Halen, from David Lee Roth to Sammy Hagar. Van Hagar's a successful one. This happened before. I just don't think it's happened yet with Linkin Park. Or you just make a
yeah,
brand
like
new
I said,
band, like
yeah, I
Audio
don't.
Slave
Well,
did.
they're not gonna make it. Yeah, they're not gonna make a brand new band because they want to keep playing their old stuff. I think
But
that this will
Audio
probably
Slave
be
did that,
fine.
but with Rage Against the Machine. But
I know, but I don't think I think they want to keep doing the Linkin Park
they
stuff
could
and
do, like,
marketing Linkin Park,
why don't they just do a new band, like
Sophomore.
because
the
they want to
houses,
sell.
and they do
They want
that.
to sell Linkin Park tickets.
Well, they
You
could
get more
sing
money
that
for a
they have
Linkin
the
Park
band.
ticket.
They have the saying you could do. This is a new band, and out of respect for Linkin Park, because our lead singer is no longer with us, like what Led Zeppelin did, like what Queen did, they can just reform a new band, and you add your legacy more. But who am I?
Queen still goes by Queen.
No, Queen and Adam Lambert. That's different. Those are
Yeah,
different bands. I
I
saw
mean,
that.
okay. So if they need to add an Emily Armstrong, if that will make everybody a little bit less angry, then maybe they should do that. But I don't think it's crazy to want to keep the brand that made you $1 gazillion on your marquee. I think that's just smart business. So I don't begrudge
Like the
them for
Beatles
not
did.
becoming someone else. Right. I think
I
that
mean,
there are three different groups right now in the United States who tour as the Beach Boys. None of them have original members in it anymore. So, like, yeah, I understand why they want to keep the name. But I think she sounds fine. I think people will get used to it. I think new songs will probably help as well, because then there won't be anything to compare it to, and it will be just a fresh song, fresh perspective. Take it from there. If it doesn't go well, a new album or a new single doesn't go well, then maybe you do have a problem that you have to address.
All right, let's go from one musician to the other, but I have to sandwich in another one because we just had Taylor Swift come out at this time after tonight's presidential debate. It is worth mentioning that she left a message on Twitter, on her with a cat
Instagram.
on social media, and it's a long message, but at the end of it, but it ends with in the final paragraph. I'll read the first paragraph and then the last one. Or I'll just read the whole thing. Taylor Swift said, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for the country. And just out of time, I know I just said I'll read the whole thing, but I just wanted to do the last two so that there is no assumptions on any other endorsements here besides what is ending with this. She ends the message with, and she puts points. Never mind. I'm going to read the whole thing again. Second paragraph.
Just read
So
how
much.
she signed off.
Yes, that's funny. But she said, recently I was made aware that AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for the election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady hand. She is a steady hand, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I think we all agree with that. I was so heartened and impressed by our selection of running mate at Tim Walz, who is beginning to stand up for the LGBTQ plus rights, IV, and women's rights to own her own body for decades. I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. And I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it much easier to vote early. I'll link to where to register and find early voting dates info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, the childish cat lady. And all right.
I knew she was going to do something strategic. She always plans everything. Y'all wanted her to give what she needed to give. She gave it. Mic drop, done. She did.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about strategy. I'll be honest, I actually kind of beating myself up. We did talk about this offline.
Yes.
And of course, they were going to wait until
Mm-hmm.
the debate. I mean, in hindsight, it's a little silly that I didn't think of that myself. What's a big way to make sure that the news after the debate is positive? Big name endorsement. I don't necessarily personally love the idea that celebrities, regardless of who they're picking, and obviously, I mean, we've been pretty clear on this show over the past, almost 400 episodes. We know who I'm voting for, and it's in alignment with Taylor Swift. And so I don't necessarily love celebrities, regardless of who they're voting for, have such an impact on the way other people vote. I wish it was, more about who was crazy and who was competent. But whatever. It is a big name celebrity endorsement. Obviously, there's really no way to deny that, of course. And it makes sense that you would want that right after the debate because, A plus B equals C. Kamala has a debate. Big name endorsement who previously hasn't endorsed endorses. You can easily make the case that the debate performance was good because he got Taylor Swift's endorsement. I don't think that's at all what happened. I'm sure this has been planned for, months. But well, not months, but weeks.
Probably was planned.
I'm sure
It's
let's be
probably, yeah.
It's probably
let's be honest. Yes, this was a Biden endorsement that is now a
Because
Harris
when
endorsement,
we
like
were-
more than likely.
Because when we
So-
saw her in Paris, people were complaining that she hadn't endorsed
Right.
Kamala at the
And I do
time.
find it interesting that the Brittany Mahomes kind of mini controversy, if you can even call it that, which is also incredibly dumb, by the way. That whole thing is ridiculous.
I agree.
But that whole thing kind of flared up at this time too. And so this also puts that to bed, as I said it would. If she's made it clear who she supports, then it won't really matter who she sits next to at a football game. You know what I mean? So this is, I think, perfect timing for her as well, because people are starting to get annoyed. So everybody involved, obviously there's some people who don't win, but everybody involved here wins and gets what they need out of it. So I think that's good, obviously, but this is going to be a bigger story than it probably should be. I'm kind of glad it's happening like mid-show.
This
so
will overshadow the debate.
It
Yeah,
probably.
to
I mean, well, it'll be tied to. That's what I'm saying. They're going to tie it to the debate. They're going to be like the debate happened, and then as a result, this happened. Like that's the plan. That's what like Kamala Harris's team is going to do. They're going to tie the two things together. They're going to take this debate, that endorsement, and however much money they raise, which I'm sure will be a decent amount because they've been pretty good at doing that though so far. They'll tie all that up, and that's going to be their message. They're going to be like, we won this debate, we secured a high-profile endorsement, and we raised $1 gazillion off of it. The momentum is on our side. America's ready for something new. That's how they'll do it. Like that's what they'll sell. That's what their message will be. Now, whether or not you believe that's true, as Taylor Swift said, is for you to decide and do your own research. But I think that, yeah, it'll be a big part of what people talk about tomorrow. I do think they will talk about it as a part of the debate story, not instead of the debate. I do think that they'll tie the two together, which is what the team, I think, wanted by holding off on this endorsement until tonight.
Congratulations. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
So next thing we have to talk about here, and no, don't read into what I just said. And I'm kidding. Before I move on, God bless America. I don't give a whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris. I'm a struggling person like many other people hurting this country, and I'm not decided who I'm voting for yet, but I will do what Taylor suggested and do my research long and hard. And how can any of these two parties can help a struggling, about to turn 30-year-old person with major college debt and all the other things? Whomever that candidate is, you let me know and you lead me in the right direction on how they can make my life better. And whomever that person is, I will gladly vote for. But for now, I don't know who that person is because whatever happened in this debate didn't answer my question on who will help the person in the struggle like me. So that's what I have to say there. And there's 56 days until the election. And for those 56 days, I will do my best to figure out which candidate will genuinely help a person like me. That's all I got to say with that. So let's
And you
move on.
don't have your answer yet?
No, I don't have my answer.
We're going to move on, Allison.
Yeah, let's move on.
I don't have my answer. If you want me
okay.
to trauma dump everything, and if it wants to hear all my struggles, I could do that. And then if you could just show me the cited sources and any solid evidence that one of those two candidates will help the person like me in the intense struggle he's in, but because he makes content every single week, no matter what with his passion, regardless of whatever struggle I'm and hurting like everybody else. I'm just here to make content. That's my ultimate passion. That steers away of this crazy world and country that we live in. For me personally, is growing this brand and business. And no Democrat or Republican or independent or libertarian can take that away from me, because I'm doing what I love and no politics are involved in growing this brand. But I still am a United States citizen. I still have to figure it out. So no, I maybe that's on me to research more on who can help me, since I can't make contact every single second of the day. And trust me, I would. But I still have to figure it out. I really do. And whomever can do that for me, and I will gladly hear all sides for that. Like I said, I'm just a person who's struggling like everybody else. Whoever can that candidate be for me, I will listen loud and clear and gladly vote and support for 2024. Maybe it's different in 26. Maybe it's different in 28. But at least for now in 24, on September 11th, 2024, I still have to figure it out for me, the Matt as the American citizen. So we'll leave it at that. And like I said, we have 56 more days to worry about this election. But
I'm sure it will come up again. So, stay tuned.
Indeed. But I commend Taylor Swift if she helps people figure it out for them. And at the end of the day, even for all the clowning I've done on Taylor Swift, on camera and off camera, words can't describe my admiration for her, because she genuinely inspires people to be better people. And even if maybe I don't understand sometimes that stuff, why she has that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because she makes people happy. And that is for right reasons. And for that, you will always have my admiration and respect and even love later on down. I don't love her yet, but maybe one day I will. And
You're moving
that's what
into the
that is my
Swiftie camp?
genuine thought on Taylor Swift right now. So yeah, if she makes you happy, then I'm happy. Okay.
There we go.
Oh,
So I will say another musician who makes me happy. And even though today's other bomb, other what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, we'll just say another bomb is come out of nowhere, really. Let me pull something up for you. I was not expecting, I don't think anybody was expecting this musician to say anything. But well, just one moment. As I said, I know people will definitely take this joke and have thought the same exact joke, but I'm going to do it now anyways.
Sometimes the best jokes are ones you borrow from your friends, right? Or from strangers on the internet.
Exactly. Oh yeah, what is that? What is that, David Grohl? What confession is there? So David Grohl on Instagram said, I've recently become a father of a new baby daughter born outside of my marriage. I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my child. I'm doing everything that I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together, Dave. Wow. The man, and no one saw that coming. Him revealing he had a baby out of wedlock. And I will say this joke
He just
from
swerved that thing too.
What?
He just swerved. He just like kind of weaved it into this thing. And it's just like, I have this baby now. It's not from my marriage, but we're gonna raise this baby, and I love my
Hopefully I'm
children, and I
forgiven.
love my wife. I'm like, wow, you just kind of just like, whoop, you just did like a quick little zip away from the not my marriage, different thing.
That's probably the
Yeah,
best
no, that
way you
was.
could handle that, I would think, as a
I
famous
mean,
person.
yeah, just we tried to like say it fast. No one hears you. That's what it felt like. That felt like the written version of trying to say something so fast that nobody could understand what you just said. But anyway, sorry, continue. You had a joke.
No, I was just gonna say, somebody said it looked like how an NFL team reveals to the public they fired their coach. that little
Yeah, right?
thing.
No, it was again, it
David
was very like
Grohl. What was this?
it's like they start with a happy news. I have a new child. Real quick, say the bad part, and then continue on talking about loving your children and loving your family and all. Like it was just like a real quick, like just a little insertion in between two happier statements that ties it all together in one big old like semi apology note. Now, I will say though, just because I did see one or two people be like, "This is not an apology," actually, and I don't know if unless you're, David Grohl's wife, he does not owe you an apology for this.
Really?
Like, I understand, like, you
Like,
might
owes the
like
fans an
people and
apology? You mean?
yeah, so I mean, like, he doesn't owe his fans an apology for this. He did cheat on the fans, and I get, we view our like
No, I agree with you.
celebrities
It's just funny. We said, well, he didn't
a
cheat on the
certain way.
fans.
Right? No, he didn't though. Like, and we view celebrities as like these paragons or whatever, and that we shouldn't because they're just normal people, and sometimes they're worse than normal people. But yeah, nothing involved in this really involves the fans, to be honest with you. Like the fans shouldn't really engage with this at all. If they like the music, I don't think this should change that. If you don't like their music, I don't think that this should be part of your conversation as to why you don't like their music. You know what I mean? Like, just this should be a net neutral event for everyone who's not named David Grohl or a member of his immediate and upcoming family.
Why did they post
So
it though, you feel?
Well, probably because look
it
how
was gonna
horrible we
leak.
are. Look how horrible Twitter and society is. Any chance they can destroy a celebrity, they will. So might as
It
well
was gonna come
admit
out.
yourself and
Yeah.
rat yourself out now before it gets worse.
Yes.
I mean, if the
There was
wife
no
and
way
them
this.
already knew, it's not like
And by the way,
And
this
it does
dropped
sound like that.
a couple hours ago, so I have no info. I don't know who the person is. I don't know
Yeah.
anything. I just
That, by the way, I think is by design. That's part of why they did
on
it.
the debate night,
yeah.
on Taylor
Well,
Swift
yeah.
endorsement night.
Yeah, just bury it.
just
Yeah,
bury
right?
it.
But
Reveal
in
your
seriousness,
secrets now,
like,
people.
yeah, but in all seriousness, I do think that's part of it. It's just let's say it now. No one have because if they don't say anything, and then someone hears a rumor, right? Now they have time to study. Now they have
Yeah,
time to
right?
get pictures. Now they have time for interviews, and suddenly they got a whole
Not an
profile.
inkling of
Now
this.
you right
I'm
now
just
you don't have a
shocked.
profile. You can't write about this other than the announcement. The only story now is his announcement. He's completely controlled the way this will be covered.
Good job, David. David Grohl wins again.
So
even when
I
he
mean,
fucks
yeah,
up.
yes, the best. This was one of the best ways he could do this, and then he got again very lucky. I mean, obviously the debate he knew about, the Taylor Swift thing he did not. Got very lucky with that. So I do think this was a good night for David Grohl, as weird as that is to say, given what he just revealed to all of us about his child outside of his marriage. But
He is trying to get
people do
forgiveness his
make
family.
mistakes.
So
Right, and
I
if
hope
his
that holds
family
up.
forgives him, that's good. If they don't, well, he did what he did, and he'll have to deal with those consequences, whatever they end up being, whether it's forgiveness or something else.
Yes. By the way, I will say no comments allowed on his Instagram.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not silly.
Yeah. Same with the Taylor one, which obviously. But yeah, I just not a thing, man. Not nothing. Like again, this is we're seeing some PR people going at it one-on-one in all aspects clearly. But yeah, I mean I hope shit. I don't know. I've never been in this situation. I know a lot of I'm putting stuff that's already been out there. Shaq talked about infidelity issues, and that's not the same as family. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his documentary, same thing. In all seriousness, like I said, was I heard Coach Prime, who I was clowning before with his team in Colorado, he made a point about, a child, it's not a mistake. I forgot the exact words. Maybe it's unexpected, but it's not a mistake. And like, obviously
accidental.
Yeah.
Even, but not a mistake. I agree.
Right. So
call a person or a potential person a mistake is kind of wrong. It makes them feel like, a mistake. Right. So I agree with that. But
The Rock, what he said to Cody, that was fucked up, but that's different. But like most important is making sure that this. Let me just make sure the baby. I get. Damn, I deleted the baby. I don't think is born yet, or he just announced the pregnancy.
No, it doesn't seem like it. Just a pregnancy announcement.
First things first, make sure the mom's okay and that baby becomes healthy. Then you give him your dad's an all-time great, 2-time Rock and Roll Hall of Fame person, a member of 2 iconic bands, and then you figure out the other stuff after. But yeah,
I agree.
That's a story for another day. But regardless, the big thing here, what a great PR move, at least.
And a little bit of luck. We can't discount the luck.
All right. And other lucky things happen. Look at this, everybody. Nikocado Avocado. This guy makes me laugh. He's made me laugh for years. And he revealed he lost 250 pounds in a weight loss video entitled 2 Steps Ahead, which has 34 million YouTube videos as of this morning. It's 30 minutes long, so I don't have time to play that. But he claims that he's secretly been losing weight while posting old videos in what he called, quote, the greatest social experiment of my entire life. This guy makes me laugh all the time with his mukbang videos. And that he was playing us the whole time.
So I'm going to ask you and Allison, what part of this was the social experiment?
Maybe if he would still get views if he was fat.
Or maybe he wanted to flex. Yeah, one of the things Dolo was talking about, he's like, if he can lose 250 pounds, what's my excuse to, exercise?
But that's not a social
experiment. It didn't even look like he had 250 to lose.
Oh, he was a big boy.
Yes, it did.
Is that photo you just showed? I did not think so.
Oh, trust me. Do you want to see some of the videos? Yeah, he's a big boy.
I think it's gross. I think the whole mukbang thing is gross, actually. I hate it. I'm not a fan of
him and his boyfriend were so funny in these videos that were already recorded, I guess, for years.
While Matt's pulling that up. So while Matt's pulling that up, because I think he's going to show us one. That's irrelevant. I was just going to say, I watched the whole 30-minute thing, and he starts it with this supervillain monologue, which I thought was really weird. And also he essentially did 3 years of content in 1 year, because he did content, and then he had 2 years of content also made that he was posting over the last 2 years while he was losing weight, to then do this video about the social experiment that I don't fully understand. And so I'm curious to see what the channel looks like after this. Obviously this is doing a crazy number on YouTube right now. I'm curious to see how what the follow-up is. But all of it always was
before mukbanging, he was originally did health, not mukbanging for health, but he was a healthy vegan.
Right, and then he did music.
So what is mukbanging, if you don't mind me asking?
That's just the insane eating. Here is
they just stuff
in the
themselves.
entire McDonald's menu. Watch me eat the entire McDonald's menu. The videos you were showing about Raising Cane's, that's a mukbang video.
Interesting.
Yeah. Can I play this video?
I find it gross, but
a response to what he says. What could be he recorded before the social experiment. It's a couple minutes, but I think it's relevant. I just played it. So, what 2 steps ahead it actually means?
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead. This has been the greatest social experiment I've come to know. Certainly the greatest social experiment my entire life. It's alluring. It's compelling. It's gripping. To bear witness, to observe all these unwell, unbalanced, disoriented beings roam the internet in search of stories, in search of ideas, of conflict, of rivalries, where people develop a distinctive desire for direct engagement, where people feel involved with the stories and therefore become product of influence, spoiling their minds while stimulating them at the exact same time. It's brilliant. but it's also dangerous. I feel as if my life has been positioned to where I'm monitoring ants. One follows another, follows another, follows another. It's mesmerizing. Just look at all these consumers, all of these lost and bored people consuming anything that they're told to consume. I am the villain. I make myself one. Today, I thought it would be a splendid idea to go out and get some food. Gee, are you surprised? Have you forgotten the story? Are you not paying attention? After all, you're here to consume, are you not?
That explains something to either of you?
Maybe the
I saw on my face. I'm sorry.
I mean, maybe maybe it's not exactly about health, or maybe it's not about being entertained. Maybe it's all about perception and the consuming part. So I will go here. I will make myself genuinely obese to prove a point that all you people want is me to be fat, and all you people want me is to make a fool out of myself, and all you people want me to be this gabadosh, right? But at the end of the day, I tricked you people. I wasn't this big all along. I was losing the weight. While you wanted me to be like a zoo animal out here, behind the scenes, I'm escaping to be free. I don't know.
So I'll get famous if I
So-
purposely make myself fat.
I mean,
And then
yeah,
lose
I
the
think
weight.
low key he
So I'll
thinks
s-
genuinely. I think
Mediation,
low key, like, yeah, that could be one
So
of the things.
I will say, I don't necessarily, I mean, frankly, he sounded kind of like an ass
Oh, yeah,
in that video.
Have you seen his videos?
But let me finish. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with the entirety of what he observed about consumers online. Again, I think he was kind of an ass about it, but like, I don't think his point was wrong. I just don't see how it's connected to him losing 250 pounds. I don't see his connection to this quote unquote social experiment. But 34 million people watched the video, myself included. So you know what? Does it matter? I think, and that would maybe be the point.
Maybe, yeah, right? Do you think it all really came down to, haha, it was a joke the whole time?
I mean, it must be, because
that was the experiment?
he quotes that video in the new video.
Okay.
That the opening of the new video, he says almost exactly what he just said in the video you just showed us.
Okay.
So clearly that video was planned to come out right before the reveal that he wasn't that big anymore. So that means he planned this entire thing from he planned 2 years of content down to the day that he would reveal that he's no longer 250 pounds, which makes him crazy. By the way, makes him a crazy person, crazy genius, crazy programmer, whatever you want to say. That's like kind of bonkers that he was like, I have this idea. So good. I would say good on him for having that idea, because it is very interesting, right? To have someone do that, make 3 years of content in 1 year, and then pay it off with like a reveal that you don't even look the way that you've looked for the last 2 years. Like, it's all very interesting. But yeah, I think that's honestly, to me, the biggest part of the story is they, 3 years worth of content in 1 year. That's crazy to do that. It's like, that's dedication. So he was clearly invested in this plan. He thought that this would be a good video.
Dude, 34
and he was
million.
Right, 34 million views.
Hold on, let me just see the updated account at the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't know where she's going, and we're gonna sign off after this, but all right, it's at 36 million. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars for that one video.
Yeah, exactly. So it paid off big, but it's crazy. It was a crazy idea, and if it hadn't paid off, that would have been horrible. But it did, so I guess that's fine.
Maybe that's what's great about analysis, especially cryptic messages like this that don't have an easy answer. There's so many theories. I mean, we'll forget about it in a couple days, but who knows what this all means at the end of the day. What a show, am I right? Great work, Allison and Ryan. Check us out on Thursday for your picks in college football, week 3, NFL week 2, and another tweet cap on Friday. And until then, everybody love everybody, and we'll see you really soon.
Have a good night.